If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my. I done been around the world.
Yeah, I was made for this.
Player Performance with J.A. Cavalier.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to NBA Player Performance on this Tuesday, April the 8th, 2025, the last Tuesday of the regular season. We got 10 games on the card. Seems like the same old story. 7 games, double-digit line as Golden State has reached -10 in the market against Phoenix today. I am the Shark in for J.A., and of course, Luke is here. Luke ripped off 48 minutes yesterday. I was feeling a little under the weather. We got a beautiful hat on, cash and tickets this afternoon. Luke, what is going on, brother?
Shark is back. Shark and Shuey are at it. It's much better to have the boys back than just ride solo, although I appreciate all you guys in the comments yesterday asking phenomenal prop questions. Shark's wearing a Tigers hat. He cashed a ticket today. I cashed Tariq's Google free play in the Telegram. If you're not in the Telegram, get in there. Links are in the description. As always, Sharky says it. Tuesdays trend upward. Let's print tickets.
10-game card, NBA Player Performance starts now.
I live the life, the bright lights, the type, the crowd likes. Where you at, ballers? Ladies hurry and men, they want a penny, they pay to come see me. Where you at, ballers?
Tuesdays trend upward. Luke said it. I'll say it again for emphasis. We got a big card today. Starting off in Charlotte, Grizzlies, Hornets, round 2. Not exactly your big-time Game 7 style of game, but this does matter for the Western playoff race. 4 teams, 5 through 8, all have the same record, and the Grizzlies are one of those teams. We're going to talk about Mike Malone getting fired when we reach that point of this calendar. But this is a team as well coming off a bizarre firing. They're laying a huge number in Charlotte tonight. I got to be honest, this game does not strike my fancy from an ATS perspective. Luke, we're here. You got any props?
Of course I have props. There's props in almost every game tonight. So we're going to go through them all. I just want to comment quick on the national championship. I'm sure you all tuned in. What a hell of a game. Kind of an old school battle. If anyone doesn't like Houston, holy cow, you have to at least appreciate their defense after last night, shutting down Walter Clayton for most of the game. But Florida somehow stays in it. They win. We cashed the under live on the show. I kept saying under. Thankfully, we smacked that. Back to this game, Grizz Hornets. It's an interesting game. I'd love to see if you have an over-under take here, Shark. But where I'm going is Luke Kennard. He shares my name, of course. That's not why we pick him. But he's a buy low right now at 5.5 points. It's a super low line. Kennard averages 9 on the season. And I would say that line functionality speaks to the under, but it doesn't because he's been going under so frequently. It's now a buy low opportunity. Look at his last 5 games. He put up 0 points, 1 point, 3 points, 4 points. He hasn't covered this line in 5 games. That doesn't scare me. In the reverse scenario, you'd say we expect regression to the mean. I expect an uptick in his shooting percentage and usage rate tonight. His shot attempts are just way down. He averages what are we at? He averages 6.7 shots per game on the season. There's a couple games lately he shot 1 time. That is an anomaly. I expect Kennard to possibly hit 2 threes. That's all it takes to cover this line tonight. He could get double-digit points for all we know. Kennard over 5.5 points. Strong lean here, Shark.
Yeah. Speaking of the NCAA tournament, of course, Kennard went to Duke. Duke really flamed out on Friday night. I was joking with some people. I really cannot believe Duke didn't make a run, but that was a great final last night. We hope people cashed tickets and enjoyed the process. That was probably a much more entertaining game than you're going to see here tonight in Charlotte. Our guy Jermaine in the chat said, Memphis always blows these teams out. I wouldn't disagree. However, here's my hesitation. This is not the same team with the same coach. And of course, this coaching change and this carousel is very surprising. We've been on here for weeks saying we thought some coaches would get fired. Rivers, Budenholzer, Nurse, not Taylor Jenkins and Mike Malone. This league is absolutely insane right now. I cannot figure this out. That all being said, the last time these teams played in Memphis on January 22nd, Memphis did pretty much what Jermaine suggested there. They did cover the spread barely, 11.5 by 12 precisely, 132 to 120. But they did come out in that game up 30. Memphis 78-48 first half. And I think that's the noteworthy point. In this Ja Morant era, against bottom feeders from the Eastern Conference, Memphis has been elite in the first quarter. My best look in this game would be Memphis in the first quarter. I know it's a big line. That is for good reason. And look, when I was looking at this game, I found something to be pretty interesting from the prop market standpoint. That game that was played in Memphis on January 22nd, one player had 38 points, who you might not expect. Can you guess?
If it was Luke Kennard, we are on the same.
It was not Kennard.
I know it wasn't. He hasn't dropped that many points this season.
It was a player on Charlotte, just to give you that.
Oh, that's a good one.
Don't look.
I'm not going to cheat. I'm just trying to think. Someone on Charlotte, not named LaMelo Ball. And what is it? Was it Mark Williams?
Yes.
My boy, Mark. I knew it. It had to be.
Speaking of Duke, what's with the Duke vibes here all of a sudden? 38 points. And I saw a guy in the chat, Lacrosse 22 CS, probably went to Duke himself. Bernsey actually said before the show he thought Lacrosse 22 was a laxer from Duke. There's so much Duke vibes right now. But I think if you might see that again. 14.5 is a high line for Mark. He is probably going to show out here. It's going to be a wide open game. But top look in this game for me would be Memphis in the first quarter. And as I said, Memphis, Minnesota, Golden State, and the Clippers have the exact same record in the Western Conference. The theme of this week is going to be finding teams that care and want games. There's not a ton of them. Those four are the teams. Best look in this game, Memphis in the first quarter, and keeping it moving. 7 o'clock in Cleveland. Divisional ball Central. Bulls, Cavs, round 4. This is a game I would have really enjoyed having action on because it is data abundant and it's a divisional rivalry. There's a couple issues here. The injuries in this game are just insane. Donovan Mitchell's out. Cleveland's been terrible without him against the spread, but the Bulls just listed Kevin Huerter out, and I think even worse, Kobe White. Those of you guys who have been betting the Bulls through this incredible sample they've put on record in the last month and a half, know one thing. This is Kobe White's show out of nowhere. This guy is just far surpassing expectations scoring the basketball. I was going through this to see if I could find some data. How do the Bulls perform without White? He's played every single game since the Zach LaVine trade. So we don't have one game on record in this new window without Kobe White. It might as well be the first game of the season. I hate to say it because I love these type of games. Totally in the darkness in terms of information. Luke, could you find anything in this game?
Yeah, I'll hit on what you were saying. So it's no Kobe White. That means Josh Giddey, right? I mean, I don't know how you wouldn't get to someone named Josh Giddey if you're looking at Chicago tonight. His line functionality shows it. His points line's at 21.5. That is way above what he's averaging on the season, but he's going to get there. I don't see why he wouldn't, so I would lean that direction. But it's also a public play, so for that reason, it's not like an official take from me. Where I lean here strongly is the Cavaliers on the overs. Chicago is horrible at defense. It's an up-and-down game. Both teams should get after this. No Donovan Mitchell. He's a good defender. I just see Cavalier numbers here. So I'd look at guys like Mobley and Darius Garland. In particular, look at Darius Garland on his point production. His line speaks volumes. I snagged him for my VIP clients this morning at 21.5 points. The line's up to 22.5. And why is that? It's for a great reason. This season, without Donovan Mitchell in the lineup, he goes off. He what does he put up this season? I'll just quote this for you. 25 points, 40 points, 25 points, 30 points, 27 points, and then 2 other games at a little bit lower. But he's putting up almost 30 a game without Mitchell. So give me Darius Garland as a strong lean here. And then I do just want to shout out Jason in the chat here. He said last night he smashed an 18-1 parlay and a 10-1 parlay using info from the show I did yesterday. So appreciate you, Jason. It looks like he was all over my picks, which were the few he chose were Adam Bona, Lonnie Walker, Zach LaVine. Bang, bang, bang. Cash those tickets. Love to hear it. Let's do more of that today. Appreciate you guys. But it's Darius Garland for me in this game, Shark.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't disagree. And of course, we love to see that yesterday. Luke was dropping some fire on here. I was feeling a little under the weather after the weekend, but we are here. We are now. And we're ready to dominate. And our guy in the chat says, Josh Giddey, PRA over, book it.
Book it.
Did you look at that?
If you're going to go Josh Giddey, never a bad idea to do PRA because he does it all. He's almost averaging a triple-double these last couple of weeks here. So you can expect at least 8+ rebounds. His assist line's a little bit down tonight. That's because Kobe White's out. They expect him to shoot a lot more, but he still should be in that like 7 to 9 assist range too. So yeah, give me the points, give me the PRA. I don't see how you get anywhere but Giddey tonight. I really think it's a strong spot despite it being a public play. So I'm with you, Ponzu. Book it.
Yeah, and in terms of the ATS side here, honestly, like I would lean towards Chicago. Not an official play by any means, but I do think this game speaks more to Chicago than it does Cleveland. As I mentioned, you're trying to find motivation in these games. Cleveland really doesn't have a lot going on right now for the final week of the season. They haven't officially clinched the conference yet because they have been kind of poor their last 10. They're 6-4 straight up last 10. They've actually been terrible against the spread, going 3-9 ATS last 12. You're seeing this with the Thunder right now, too. These teams have been just so far beyond elite all year. This is where they're reserving energy. It's not that they're falling off a cliff and are going to like crawl into the playoffs and wash out in the first round. They just have a stranglehold over these conferences, and they're really just coasting their energy for the next week and a half. So this is where I think Chicago can keep it close, even if Kobe White is out. I think that there's just not a ton of motivation on the Cleveland side of this game. And I think Chicago needs this game far more. They're currently sitting number 9 in the East. The logjam in the East, dissimilar to the West. The West is in the core. It's 3 through 8. The logjam in the East is just the play-in tournament. Orlando, Atlanta, Chicago, and Miami are 2.5 games separate from each other. And there is going to be motivation to get home court in the play-in tournament. So the teams that you really want to focus on in the Eastern Conference are teams like Chicago. And just looking at it, they're only a half game ahead of Miami for the 9. So if they lose and lose a couple more, they have to go on the road for that 9-10 matchup. It makes a big difference. And I just think this line is steamed out of the gym. It's up to 14 points. I mean, Luke, you were saying it. Darius Garland balls out when Donovan Mitchell doesn't play. That's fine. But they don't cover spreads.
Right. I was just going to say, do you think – but I don't know that they can get to this large of a line. So would you lean Chicago like plus the points despite Kobe White being out?
See, the fundamental problem, as I said, is there's not one single game on record after the Levine trade for this Chicago group without Kobe White. But I just think the psychology of this game is so extraordinary in terms of Chicago actually needing to compete in these games. And Cleveland really, really not needing these games. So I think just that margin of that line is just so high, 14. And we've seen this.
For anyone that thinks that doesn't matter, that is not true. Especially with a young team. The Bulls are pretty young. They, of course, have a couple of veterans. But a young team needing to win, Shark, I think that matters a lot more than people might even think. So I'd side with you there. I would agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And final point on this. This is the 4th matchup in the division. They don't want to lose 4 times in 1 year to Cleveland. At no point in any NBA team's calendar do they want to get clean swept from a divisional opponent 4 times in 1 year. So motivation across all angles is on Chicago tonight. I think this game is going to fall inside of 10 points. And one final point on this, just off the top of my head. I remember Cleveland did play a game right in this range of line at home without Donovan Mitchell against the Raptors. I think they were laying right around 14 or 15 points. This is going back about 3 months. They did not cover. They won the game by like 3 or 4 points. So it's going to be a really tight game here tonight, guys. If you want to take this, throw it in a parlay, do something with it, lean heavily towards the Bulls, and we will keep it moving. 3rd game on the card, another Eastern Conference game, not divisional, but a rematch of a game played within the last 2 weeks. Wizards-Pacers in Indiana. And just to remind you guys, the last time these teams played on March 27th, Indiana scored 162 points. I believe, I'm almost positive.
He did not misspeak. He did not misspeak, people.
No. And I'm pretty sure that was the most points any team has scored this year. I remember the Knicks had a 149 in overtime. That was in regulation, too. And crazily enough, I was looking at that. Indiana didn't score for the final 2.5 minutes of the game. They probably could have put up a buck.
They put up 162 without overtime and not even scoring in the last. So 46 minutes of hoops. That's why.
Unbelievable. Shot over 60% from the field. I think 55 plus from three. This line is suggesting a similar story. This is just where you see these gaps at this point in the season. Indiana just played Utah, and they looked honestly disinterested for the first three quarters, and then came out and just hammered Utah in the fourth quarter by, I believe, 28 points. And that's just what's going on with these bad teams. They're trying to give games away. They're absolutely tanking. That's why the lines are huge. I have Indiana to win this game by 22 points. And on that conversation in terms of the playoffs, I think Indiana and New York are kind of just settled into where they're going to be at these points right now. Like right now, the Knicks are 3 full games ahead of the Pacers for the 3 seed, and the Pacers are 3 full games ahead of the Bucks for the 4 seed. So there's just not a lot of movement that's going to happen in the next 4 games for these teams, and I think they know that. I really think you're just going to see kind of just these stock games. This is projected to be 22-point win, but I don't know. Look, I don't love this game. You got anything on this one?
For the props, it has to be overs. Like it just has to. You would, of course, these lines. I love unders. I love unders more than the next guy. Trust me. There's a lot of value in unders for a lot of different markets. This is not one of them. I just wouldn't be caught dead taking an under, even if it loses. Your value is on the over in these props in this game specifically. Where I'm going with it, I'll be quick. AJ Johnson. You heard me and Shark say the name AJ Johnson last week. What did he do? He put up 19 points. He cashed our ticket easily. I waited a couple more games because his line wasn't as good. His spot wasn't as good. It's an AJ Johnson game again tonight, Shark. I have him for over 11.5 points. I have him projected for 15 to 18 again tonight. It's against the Pacers defense. It should be just up and down, flying up and down the court. Johnson isn't shy. He's been putting up 12 shot attempts per game. That means he needs less than 1 point per shot attempt if he does his average to get to the line tonight. That is a pretty significant hammer spot for me in terms of value. Love AJ Johnson tonight in the over. And just another shout out. We got to keep the people involved. Flacco, appreciate your shout out in the comments earlier. I know it was a baseball comment, but already hit a plus 600 parlay today from our pick with Scooble, and he dialed up his own little parlay there. Every penny OTL, appreciate the shout out. So just you guys keep the questions coming. If we don't answer your question live time here, Shark and I, Bernsey, he'll circle back for us at the end of the show if we have some time for Q&A, and we'll hit up the plays you guys ask us on. So again, just to recap, AJ Johnson, baby.
Yeah, we had this conversation last week. I'm trying to recall. This is the kid that played NBA Australia, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yep, this is the one where he's playing that Aussie ball. Oh, yeah.
And we had said this last week. The only guy before A.J. Johnson that went over to Australia instead of going to college was LaMelo Ball. So this dude's balling. He's professional. He wants to score the ball. We've cashed a couple tickets with this guy in recent history. And there's just so much value on these players late season who are getting so much more on-court time than you would have ever expected going back a few months. So massive value there. Top play in the game. The game's projected to be a blowout, but I don't want to get involved with this one at all. Staying course here. Next game on the card, more divisional basketball. Hawks in Orlando tonight, 7 o'clock Kia Center. This is a really interesting game. For the same reason we were talking about with Chicago, this is going to determine who hosts who in the play-in tournament. Currently, Orlando is 1 game ahead of the Hawks, and they are basically in a desperation spot tonight because whoever loses this game is probably going to end up going on the road in the playoffs. I honestly think Orlando is very due to continue upward movement. They're finally approaching 500 late in the season. We talk about this every time. This is a playoff team from last year who had injuries all year. My top free play is in this game. I will drop it in a minute. But, Luke, any props or thoughts?
Yeah, not an official free play for me in this, but I do think that you have to go over here, specifically on the Orlando side. And it's going to – usually I like my niche players at this point in the season. It's going to be the big names because this is a big win scenario. Orlando must win to get that home court advantage, and trust me, they want it. Once Orlando is in the playoffs, I think unders are going to be the spot just in general for those games. But this game against Atlanta should play up-tempo for the guys like Banchero and Wagner. So I'm leaning Banchero over 42.5 PRA. It's a high line. He should be able to get there tonight. Atlanta does not play great defense. Banchero can attack the rim nonstop. I think he gets to the free throw line for like 10 plus free throws tonight. I see his line going over with pretty solid value. So it's Banchero over 42.5 PRA. That's where I'm leaning.
Yeah, I would agree. And I've been saying this every single time we talk about Paolo. I mean, this dude is like a football player. He is gigantic. And I mean, you don't see guys like people had actually made a comment that he kind of has a LeBron type of body. I mean, he is that size. He's like 6'8", and but he's bigger than LeBron. He has more bulk. He's just huge. And I was actually looking at his background. For those of you guys who want a little more trivia here on this Tuesday. So Paolo Banchero grew up in Washington, the state of Washington. His mom.
More Duke Shark, by the way. More Duke. Man.
Right. It's so much Duke today. I'm not entirely sure what that means. It's still eluding me as to the importance of this. But he grew up in Washington. His mom was, I believe, the highest scorer in the history of Washington Huskies female basketball. And his dad was an offensive lineman on the Washington football team back in the 80s or the 90s. So you think about why Paolo is who he is. His dad was an offensive lineman in the Pac-10 back in the day, and his mom was the best female basketball player in the history of Washington Huskies basketball. So you talk about pedigree here. This guy's got it all. And you talk about his domination of Atlanta this year. You said overs. 2 games this year against the Hawks. He put up 31 on the road, at home, and he put up 36 on the road. He just crushes the Hawks. And my top play in this game is right along with Luke. I dropped it on Instagram. If you guys haven't followed me on Instagram, please do. I dropped 224 earlier. It's getting steamed for good reason. The over is the best play in this game, and it is an official free play here on the show. And the last time these teams played on February 20th in Atlanta, the final score was 114-108. It did go over. The line was 221.5. It hit by a hook. But here's the key point. Ultimately, there's going to be a lot more points tonight because the teams didn't shoot the ball well in that game at all. 17 for 60 from 3 combined, and it still went over. And Atlanta in that game shot 39 out of 100 from the field. So there's just going to be a total infusion of points in this game tonight. And I was going through
they got up 100 shots.
39 for 100.
That is like a lot of attempts. Whew.
Correct. And that's where the next point, and I think the best point outside of the actual divisional data here, Orlando has been an under team at home for a while, but it's not because of their inability to score the ball themselves. You guys saw them put 121 on the Kings in recent history. They put a buck 16 on the Lakers. The last time they did go over against an Eastern Conference opponent at home, this is where it gets even better. March 6th against Chicago, 125-123. Extreme over. And what's the similarity here? Chicago has the second pace in the league. Atlanta has the third pace in the league. So you're going to see a wide open game tonight, total track meet. They're probably going to have a combined almost 200 shots in tonight's game. By far the best look in this game. Official free play on the show. Take the over. You're looking at now, I believe, 225.5 or 220. Yeah, 220. You can get 225 now. We'll go official with 225 in this game. Next game on the card, out of conference. Probably the worst game on the card if you were going to decide you wanted to go to the arena and enjoy some basketball tonight. Pelicans Nets in Brooklyn. I have 3 official plays in this game. I think you guys that have watched the show now for months know that I love games that have obscurity to them because books do not have a handle on the game. And Luke and I were talking about this before, and I think it connects with what I said. This is by far the least entertaining game for a casual fan on the entire card. That's what we love. And Luke, what do you think?
I don't even know if most fairly consistent sports watchers will know the starting lineups tonight. Like, it is that obscure. It is so many players that do not play significant minutes for these rosters. I mean, it's going to be nuts. Like, let's just list who's out for these teams. I mean, no Zion, of course, no CJ McCollum, no Trey Murphy, no Jordan Hawkins, Brandon Boston. Those guys all scored for the Pelicans. Jose Alvarado, questionable. For the Nets, no Keon Johnson, Day'Ron Sharpe, D'Angelo Russell, Cam Johnson, Noah Clowney. I mean, those are all guys that actually contribute offensively for both teams. It's going to be a hilarious roster, which has opportunity for buy lows. I wouldn't even say a buy low. It's just a bad projection by the books. So like guys like Watford tonight. I know that's one Shark had circled. I'll let you take over for some of these guys because you really liked a couple of them. But Trendon Watford for the Nets, someone put it in the chat earlier, should you take his over? I absolutely love him in this spot. He averages 9.6 on the season. His line is 13.5. Shark told me before we came on the air, his line on one of the books is actually up to 15.5. So if you see that line at 13.5 in your book, please snag that. Watford could easily drop like 15 to 20 tonight. I don't think it's out of question at all, simply based on usage rate. He has to score. Like he's pretty comfortable getting the ball up when he is in the game. I see him getting, probably 13, 15 looks tonight from the field. So that's where I'll lean. I'll let you take it from here, Shark. Tons of other names, but Watford was my favorite of the bunch. You got to love it.
Yeah, as I said, I have 3 official plays in this game. If you guys want these plays, they're VIP plays. I have a 6-0 guarantee today. Has to go 6-0 sweep, or you get upgrade. Day becomes a week becomes a month becomes a season. Love the card. Please sign up. But I do want to discuss this. These are player prop over points tonight. And Luke and I were talking about this earlier this morning, and I said, when you look at this game tonight, this game is going to take on like an exhibition game feel. This is like a tryout for these guys. Neither team is going anywhere. These guys are not starters from any sort of, preseason projection. These are young players who are going to be trying to put tape on record for future contracts. And when you cap games like this, they are rare. They're absolutely rare. But you want to be just buying overs on these guys because the mentality of the game is going to be like almost like a high school all-star game, like the McDonald's All-American game, where you have all these athletic players just trying to put tape on record for guys to recruit them. It's going to happen tonight. And Luke and I were talking about this, as I said, when you look at this actual game line, it's pretty astounding. These teams played back on November 11th in New Orleans. Of course, that was a long time ago. That was actually Brandon Ingram on the Pelicans leading the way that night against Cam Thomas and the Nets and most of their starters. Here's the key point, though. Those are all well-known pros. And that game finished 107-105 on a 209.5 line. So you see all these pros and scorers, and then you get all these unknown players, and the line comes up to 214. Like, that is a mind-blowing tell in terms of this game. The fact that this is actually higher of a line with these rosters than it was with well-known pros. So just take the over in this game. And if you guys want my VIP plays, join the Telegram and let's dominate. Next game on the card, 7:30 in New York. Same city, different vibe here. Kind of the comedy of pro ball, how you go maybe even just barely even a mile across town here, and you go from Pelicans Nets to Celtics Knicks. This is a really interesting game. I know if J.A. was in here, he'd probably have a take on this game because he loves the Celtics. And I think he likes the national games. I got to be honest, this is a tough game for me. I've seen insane market steam here tonight. Boston opened at -3. They're now +1.5. I have some comments on it. Luke, did you look at the props?
Yeah, it's not a game I actually love for the props because this might be the most unknown in terms of like who's going to actually play, what's the game going to look like. I have no feel for this. Usually, if I don't have a feel, it's a pass game for me. But I'll still come on here and give you guys a lean because I think there's still some opportunity to make money. It looks like the entire starting lineup is questionable for Boston except for Jaylen Brown. So the public is going to be all over Jaylen Brown, saying over, over, over. He's going to hammer his over. I don't think this is one of those games where Brown sees himself as the guy that has to crush this game and get the win. It just isn't the mentality there for Boston. You're seeing the line move that direction. So I actually have a projected under for Jaylen Brown. His line's at 20.5 points. I haven't projected for like 15.5 or 16. just because I think guys like Pritchard and Hauser and those guys, they're just going to chuck the 3 tonight. I just think Brown will be a little bit more laid back than you might expect. So I'd lean Jaylen Brown under here, 20.5 points.
Yeah, as I said, this is just a funky game. It's a bit of a tough read. Like I was trying to figure out, as I said, if this game really means anything to either team. It doesn't really. Like Boston is pretty much locked into the 2 seed, and the Knicks are pretty much locked into the 3 seed. So you take the playoff conversation out of the picture here, and you say to yourself, okay, what's the motivation of the game? It's purely the fact that Boston has beaten the Knicks 3 straight games this year, and this is, again, a divisional team trying to avoid a sweep. And one thing that I did find to be pretty interesting here, last year, the Knicks were in a very similar position on April 11th, 2024. They were actually playing their 5th game last year against Boston because they had played 1 extra game in the NBA Cup, I believe. But Boston was 4-0 against the Knicks in the regular season last year. And in the 5th matchup, the Knicks went into Boston and just hammered the Celtics. And it was Jalen Brunson. A couple guys said he's back. He has played well historically against the Celtics. He scored 36 the last time he faced off against the Celtics, I believe. If there was ever a time for the Knicks to beat the Celtics, it would be tonight. It's hard to sweep a divisional opponent, particularly one who's top 4 in the conference in terms of their quality. It's also just the dog mentality of the Knicks. And as I said, the Knicks did this last year in the final matchup of the year. So that's why the line is getting steamed across the board. You never see steam against Boston like this. We are still waiting for rosters, I believe. There's still a bunch of moving parts on the Boston side, right?
Right, which is why, I totally let you cap the games and the spreads, but that's another reason why my mind goes, follow the line here. Like, follow what the books are telling you. It's probably a New York spot if you're just looking at the injury report alone. Like, there might be 1 or 2 guys the books already know are likely to sit out. And that's why I would lean New York as a final factor in this game. It's not a Boston game for me, even though it appears like, that's a great line. It's New York tonight or nothing for me.
Yeah, and that game last year, it was in Boston, as I said, April 11, 2024. The Knicks just came out from the opening tip and just hammered them. They were actually up 69-48 at the half and just continued and just really obliterated them. So I think
62 days later, it's going to happen again, Shark. Watch it be like 65. Well, what would it be? Yeah, watch it be similar, like a 68, 51 halftime score or something. I think that's that's doable. I think New York could do something like that.
Yeah, no, without question. And that's, obviously the injuries, this and that. But I will say this, even the opening line, Boston opening at 3 was short. They were home 8.5. It should be neutral around 5.5, 6 road. 3 was still short. Regardless of the market steam, it actually was a Knicks line at open. So I'm not saying that we're on this. Luke and I are not on this game. Just be careful backing the Celtics here. If the Knicks were ever going to get one, it would be tonight in this environment. 8 o'clock in Milwaukee. Speaking of a lot of teams that are hard to figure out, both of these teams are hot out of nowhere. Minnesota, dub 5. Milwaukee, dub 4. I have this game packaged in a parlay. I do think the Wolves get the W tonight. I think the Wolves have a better team. We're sitting here talking about Jenkins and Malone get fired. As I said, I think Rivers is out the door after this season unless the Bucks make a huge run in the playoffs. I mean, look, as a fan, what do you think? And secondarily, as a handicapper, what do you think?
I think you're right on both fronts. I don't think Doc Rivers is the coach of the future for Milwaukee. I don't know if anyone thinks that. He's a capable coach to play or to, lead and play guys with multiple teams with multiple stars. So Lillard and Giannis, like it made a little bit of sense there. He hasn't done great this season. So if they're out first round, he is out, I would say 100%. What I have in this game for props though is a pretty strong lean, and it's an under. It's fading Brook Lopez. He has a PRA line of 20.5 tonight. You're going to look at trends. If you're a trend looker, you're going to say, wow, he should go over. He's averaged 20 points pretty much in his last 4 games. So you would think that, but it's not. This is not the spot. It's a fade spot. Minnesota's playing good defense, and who's back? Bobby Portis. The Bucks finally have their suspended Portis back tonight, and he's important. He takes away Brook Lopez's minutes because he's a great second piece off the bench he can spread the floor. So if Milwaukee wants to play small with Portis, they can. Lopez has been playing increased minutes. It's going to slowly wean down here, in my opinion, these last few games. So Portis back, tougher matchup, trending towards the under. The books are showing it to us strong. Give me Brook Lopez, official free play for the show here, under 20.5 PRA.
Yeah, and as I said, I have Minnesota in a parlay to win. Obviously, the money line is not a point here. It's minus 220 or something in that range. But there's actually a lot of detail here. I don't know if you guys remember, we told you that the Orlando, Minnesota environment was leaning towards the road team. I believe Orlando and Minnesota are 5-0 to the road team last 5. Same thing here, actually. The road team in this matchup is 3-0 straight up ATS last 3. And I think really, really noteworthy from a motivational standpoint tonight. On February 12th, the Bucks beat Minnesota in a game without Giannis and Lillard. It was just an insulting game by the Wolves, like inexcusable. It was your classic. They just didn't show up because Giannis and Lillard weren't playing. They took the night off. It was a disgrace. They were a huge favorite, and they lost outright by 2. Key point in that game, though, like we were talking about with the Hawks having 100 field goal attempts, not being able to shoot, Minnesota in that game shot 39 for 103 from the field, 10 for 44 from 3. Edwards was 4 for 17 from 3.
He did. 17 threes.
Horrible.
That is unbelievable.
Horrible. And I just think that sometimes Minnesota is a little heady like that. Like they think that they're too big time. And they looked at that version of Milwaukee that day and they said, we don't have to play. We can just sit back, have a cocktail, smoke a cigarette, and just shoot threes. And 10 for 44, 4 for 17. Come on, dude. I just think that that's gonna level them up tonight. They're gonna say, all right, not that bullshit again. And Giannis is back. He'll play. They're gonna turn up tonight. Minnesota's gonna come in here and I would say take care of some business tonight. Luke, I was gonna ask you another question, but I believe that's it for that one. So keeping it moving here, 8 o'clock in Oklahoma City, rematch of a game the other night. Pretty incomprehensible effort from the Thunder the other night, losing by 27 to the Lakers. Like I said with Cleveland, however, I don't know if OKC is bringing any motivation at this point. I think that they're just reserving energy at this point for the playoffs. We said last week they could win 70 games. Well, they've lost 2 in a row, so they can't do that. Now it's just pretty much post, let the backups play, and just wait for the playoffs. I mean, you don't like backing the Lakers with this injury report. Everybody on the freaking team is apparently hurt tonight. Luke, this is a disastrous game, correct?
Yeah, this is not where you go for Thunder overs. It's just simply not. J-Main34, I love you. You're always in the chat, giving good suggestions. I am not betting on SGA putting up 40 tonight. There's no way. There's no reason for him to. I just simply couldn't get there. Shark made the most important point. The Thunder have nothing to play for. They aren't playing for the 70-win season. In fact, it would be dumb of them to play the starters the full minutes. Why risk injury? They're the healthiest they've been all season. They're the 1 seed. They're the favorite. Get to the playoffs healthy. Makes no sense to bet on Thunder overs in this game. So if anything, I'm fading them and going under. But I would give it a lean here is actually also Doncic under assists. It's at 7.5. He actually has not been hitting double digits frequently lately in assists. He had 6 just against OKC the other night, 6 prior to that, 7 prior to that. And I think OKC's defense is decent, even if their backups are playing enough where Doncic should be. I think the Lakers win this game enough where he's not even going to have to worry about dishing the ball if playing at all, because he's also not. He's listed as questionable. So Doncic under 7.5 assists. Lastly, I do have a VIP play, one of my top-rated NBA plays in this game. It is an Austin Reeves prop, but I won't tell you where I'm headed with it. So if you want that, of course, dip into the link below in the description. $100 gets you the rest of the NBA season. That's through the whole playoffs. Props in almost every single game through June 15th. So there's a deal there. And if you're a baseball fan like myself, we're crushing MLB. We have some in my Telegram thread too. Burns, you can throw that in the link. I'm dancing back a little 10-0. That's almost impossible to hit. putting the clients first. Let's get 10-0 or package upgrade. So there's some options for you there. Sorry, Shark, I took a minute there, but it's Thunder unders. Like Thunder under, it just makes sense. It kind of rhymes. It's in the word, like Thunder unders or Luka assist under is where I'm at here.
Yeah, it's just a tough game. I mean, there's nothing really to say about this game. I did find our guy Adam in the chat, little comedy there. He says OKC 126-99, polar opposite score of the other night. You see this happen. I mean, you no lie, you see this happen. I could see it. I really could see it. Just pure mirror on the other side, right back to the mean, the 0-point mean. But just speaking of that game the other night for a brief second, that was just a 3-point game. The Lakers won by 27. They won the 3-point battle by 30 points. OKC could really not hit the three, and the Lakers were smoking hot. Lakers need the game far more. They're in that pack in the Western Conference playoff race. OKC's got it wrapped. Nothing to play for. I don't know who's going to play in this game. It's just a complete toss. If the Lakers play their players, they probably keep it close. There's probably points, overs. A couple of our guys said Kason Wallace and Aaron Wiggins. I wouldn't disagree. Probably overs there.
Yep, I would actually co-sign those just to hop on here. If you're going to go with a Thunder player, pick some of those 7th, 8th, 9th guys. That's where the value is going to be tonight.
Yeah, without question. Next game on the card, back end of the doubleheader on TNT tonight. National game in Phoenix. Warriors, Suns. Really a lot to unpack here. My top play of the entire card is in this game. If you guys haven't signed up, please do. Let's dominate. I will say this. The Suns have gone off the grid. I mean, Luke, you talk about Budenholzer. Honestly, in my opinion, there is no shot in hell Phoenix next year in training camp looks anything like this current team. I think Durant's probably gone. I think Booker might get traded. I think he might force a trade. I think they fire Budenholzer. This is really one of the biggest, just complete, utter underachievement points in the league this year. I think Philadelphia is 1, Phoenix is 2. Luke, Warriors blowout?
Man, I don't know. I think it has to be. Like, it really does. The Phoenix team looks awful. I don't have any picks in this game, to be completely honest. I just don't love it. And I was trying to find value here live for the crowd. And I mean, if I had to get anywhere, it's probably Nick Richards for the Suns to go over 7.5 points because he's a decent post player and can get some looks against the Warriors, a little bit undersized, front court. But even that's a stretch. So Nick Richards would be a small lean. This is a stay away game for me. Phoenix is ugly. I have no idea. Could be a 50-point game. Who knows who's playing? It's not an easy game to track here for props. So mostly stay away. Got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, baby. You know that better than most, Shark.
I think Phoenix should just fold this entire group and move on in the offseason. This is just a disaster. I mean, we weren't even doing this show back when they put this group together a couple of years ago. I was on another show, and I said on record how much of a disaster this was going to be. Because I said you can't have basically 3 players who all play the same position, who need the ball in their hands and are basically shot creators. It's just a terribly constructed roster, and it really just constantly goes this direction when these GMs try to play fantasy basketball with their team. You can't just plug names onto a roster and expect it's going to work when they play basically the same position. So just a failed idea, poor vision from the GM, just a terrible idea gone awry. So we have a top play in this game, and we will keep it moving. Final game on the card tonight, another game involving these teams who are all in the logjam in the Western Conference. Clippers hosting the Spurs. And when I say the logjam in the Western Conference, I am not talking about the Spurs. We're talking about the Clippers, who are sitting at 46-32, excuse me. Same record as the Warriors, Wolves, and Grizzlies. This is a must-win game. It's a playoff-style game. It's a blowout line. I could see a blowout developing here tonight. Luke, any props?
I don't mean to finish the card weak, but this is a game that I'm mostly staying away. I have the Clippers here big. I literally have them winning by like 30 plus if I had to guess. And I cannot get to their overs because it's rest. It's rest at the end of this game. It should be at least. So it's a stay away spot. I just said it. You got to know when to not bet. It's just as important as finding good spots. This is not a great spot for bettors, in my opinion. So like, and I don't see a lot of defense being played. Like, that's what makes this hard is the Clippers, they're going to score a lot. It's going to be potentially a blowout because the Spurs defense is so bad. But at the end of this game, will guys sit? That's what's making it tough. That's what is making it tough for me. There's one guy I went to here on a VIP card. I'll just allude to it, though, because the rest of the game sucks, in my opinion. The one guy I do feel that should get easy buckets early and often, and where I would lean as an over, is Zubats in the middle for the Clippers. He's been scoring the ball a ton. Kawhi, Powell, Harden, they're all going to attack the rim. Spurs have no interior defense. Are you telling me Biyombo is going to stop Zubats? I just don't see it happening. He needs just a bunch of easy buckets early to get us to the over here. So that's where I would look. If you're going to go anything Shark, it's Zubats in the paint because he's the one that should get some easy looks early. But other than that, it's a stay away.
Yeah, I mean, the game numerically is graded for the Clippers to blow them out and an over. I have the game graded Clippers to win the game by 22 points. I have the game to hit 231 points. And it's like you said, the Spurs are not playing any defense. Very young group. Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, a bunch of these guys. It's a blowout line. I don't love playing it. I don't like fading teams that have nothing to lose and can kind of just show out. We've seen the Clippers do this in recent history against the Pelicans. They were laying a huge number. They were supposed to cover. Pelicans, I believe, had a 4 or 5 point flurry in like the last 90 seconds of the game to cover. It could come down to that. Clippers will win this game, no problem. Again, covering the spread late. They might not find peak motivation. Final point on this. Not a final point on this. I was looking at the Spurs schedule, but the Spurs have actually been representative on the road recently. I mean, they covered at Cleveland on a big line. They beat Denver outright, albeit an injured Denver team. You don't entirely want to fade the Spurs here in this spot. Tough number, tough spot. 47-minute rundown, and we have best bets. Tuesday's trend upward. The Shark and Luke Shuey. Luke, best bets.
I know right where I'm going with this. Last night, for those that did pop on the show, we cashed our best bet, which was Adam Bona, role player for the Sixers, over 20 or 19.5 PRA or points and rebounds. Excuse me. He cashed that easily. Tonight, another role player for you. It's an important bet. It's AJ Johnson of the Wizards, over 11.5 points. I haven't projected for 16. He may not get that high, but I see him getting 12 plus tonight. That is AJ Johnson, Washington Wizards, over 11.5. Book it.
My top play on the show, Hawks Magic over 225. I talked about it before. You're going to see a ton of shots in this game. Orlando will run with the third pace in the league. That is the Hawks. Buy it, live it, love it, and let's dominate. We're going to put together a parlay for you guys. The last show that I was on here with Luke on Friday, we literally missed a 7-game parlay, one leg, by a half a point. For those of you guys that sweat it with us, I'm sure you know what we're talking about. Luke, it was like Saturday morning at like 2 a.m. I hit up Luke. I was like, we just lost that parlay by a hook because Jackson Hayes scored 6 points on a 6.5 over line instead of 7. Jackson, come on, man.
Just one more alley-oop, would you? Because, you cashed 4 money lines, or 3 or 4 money lines. It was 4 money lines. I cashed 2 other props, and then we were just relying on that. So close, but let's do it for the people today. Why not? Let's dial it up.
Yeah, and we said on Friday the best number is 7. Let's do 7. Luke, start it off.
Yeah, I'll start it off. I'm going to go with a Cleveland line. I think they really do put the points on early. I'm going Garland over 19.5 points. That is the first one. I'll give 2 off the bat here. Where else do I want to go? Let's go with our boy Watford. Watford for the Nets, over 13.5. I know there was someone in the comments saying he hasn't covered that in 7 games. That's not how you cap it. You got to predict with the books what's going to happen. Follow the functionality. Watford over 13.5. Again, Burnsy, if you're typing it, it's we'll just do last names. It's Watford, WATFORD, 13.5.
Yeah, somebody was talking about getting a bottle. And when you said that, Watford sounds like some high-level champagne or something.
Ooh, I could see that on a label, just from Watford Estates,
Yeah, let's get that nice bottle of Watford on a Tuesday here. All right, so we're going to do the money line game as well, and then we'll do a couple more. So you gave 2, is that right?
Yeah, we've got Garland, and sorry, H-Town Legend, anyone that's doing the bet now, I still like Garland at 21.5. It's just really sharp movement from where we were at earlier. But yeah, so we'll stick with 21.5. That's cool. But the other one was Watford. So you take it away, Sharp.
All right, let's do 4 money lines. Pacers, Grizzlies, Timberwolves, and Warriors.
Boom. Say that one more time for the people.
Pacers, Grizzlies, Timberwolves, and Warriors.
Love it. All right.
And so that's 4. You gave 2.
Yeah. Do you want me to go one more, or should we co-sign one together here? Don't rely on me for Jackson Hayes. Let's put one play together here to finish it off.
Okay.
Do you want to look at? Do we want to throw in Josh Giddey?
I don't know if he's going to play. That's the problem. Do we have any confirmation on that?
Let's look. Let's look live time. I guess I still don't see an update. I guess let's not tap in a questionable tag. That's no fun for anybody.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what about?
I mean, I know you guys may not love this. Second pick, guys. Trenton Watford Nets over 13.5 points. We don't have to go this route, but my Bucks vibes are really liking the Lopez under PRA. Portis back, energy's there. I just don't see Lopez playing that much, but we don't have to go with the Bucks one. That would just be something I'm thinking of here.
Yeah, why don't you put that on there, and then we'll add one more money line just to get it even more plus odds.
Boom. All right. Lopez under 20.5 PRA.
Okay, and then we'll do Clippers money line. As I said, Clippers are not losing this game. It could get close late on the 14, so we'll take the Clippers money line as well.
All right. You got that, Burnsy? That's a lot of picks. One parlay. Boom. Garland, Watford, Pacers, Grizz, T-Wolves, Warriors, Lopez under, Clippers money line. If that cashes, I want to see tickets tomorrow. I want to see celebration. We're due for one of these. We've been so close so many times.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna hit one. We missed the last one literally by a half point. I mean, like, you can't get any closer than that. But we're gonna do some questions.
Practice? We're talking about practice, man.
All right, so we have some questions. If you guys have any questions in the chat right now, drop your questions and we will answer. Brad Bowen says, Giddey rebounds.
So, again, we just kind of hinted that he may not play because he's questionable. You can still take it, though. The ticket would just void if he's not in. I like Giddey in all stack categories tonight. I said this earlier. I love his points line's high. It's 21.5. That shows over value. His assist line is a little bit lower, but I actually still like the over. And then if we're looking at Giddey's rebounds, it's looking at 8.5 right now. That one's sharper. I don't even have it. I haven't projected for like 8.4. Like, it's right on. I don't have a strong tell on that one, Brad. If I had to lean, I'd say over, simply because this game should go over in all capacities of pace of play, but not something that I'm hammering.
All right, next question from our guy Anand says Seth Curry 2 threes, Alex Sarr over 17 points.
Interesting. Seth Curry. Do not mistake that for the Stephen Curry. His brother Seth, I like him to hit 2 threes tonight. He's been getting increased tick with the Hornets squad. And he's still a knockdown shooter. So, yeah, I actually like Seth Curry there to hit 2. Sarr should go over if he gets the minutes. The one thing I'll give you a hint on here is JT Thor has been getting more tick late in games for the Wizards, sometimes playing in place of Sarr, which surprises me. But I still lean over here because Shark and I said Pacers-Wizards game should be nothing but up and down the floor. I mean, Pacers put up 162 last time. I'd lean over for a lot of players in that game. So, yeah, Anand, I could get there. I could get there on both of these.
Yeah, our guy Flacco says Nets are due for a win. You think they win at home today? Yeah, I do. I have this game graded to be tight, though. I have them to win by 3 points. I said to Luke earlier, I think the final score is going to be 111-108 Nets. And, if you guys bet the precise score, you can get plus 11,000 odds every single bet. I kid you guys not, I didn't bet it myself, but with my model, I hit one in the regular season. It was the Hawks game against the Hornets, and my model actually spit out the exact final score. I mean, this shit is precise. So we're going to hit one of those eventually too. We should do that every day. We should give out like a tenth of a unit play, just a final score. We're going to hit one because this model is so damn sharp.
What is it? What does it pay? Did you say?
Plus 11,000, I think by default. I think they get even higher. I think they get up to like plus 15,000.
So I mean, $100. What does that pay? Not $100. Don't put $100 on that. Sorry, like $5 or $10. I wonder what that pays.
Yeah, no, I mean, and again, I would never say this if we were just like degen betting in a sports book, but this is whenever I tell you guys like this team's supposed to win by 22 points, I have the margin and the total as a print in my model. So I just correlate those two, and it gives you a direct score of the game. So the direct score for this game is 111-108. Hit it. Why not?
So I think if I'm doing my math correctly, $5 would pay $5.50.
Sounds about right.
No, that would make sense. I mean, well, never a bad thing to throw $1 or $2 on the line. I love it, Shark. What else do we got?
A couple more questions here. Our guy KODZ_Dominican XX0 says Derek White PRA 25 over under.
Derek White PRA over. Sorry, where am I? Oh, there we are. Thank you, Bernsey. This is a tough one because we don't know who's in the lineup. I would lean over here because Derek White tends to be one of the guys that'll play if others sit. So I'd lean over. I cannot say for sure until lineups are out, but I'd lean over there simply for that reason. And again, the game doesn't matter for the Celtics, so could be really lax defense there. A lot of threes being shot, which favors Derek White's game anyway. So slightly into the over.
Yeah, and I think our guy's other question is even more interesting. Curry points over under. I mean, Luke, let me preempt your comments by saying Steph Curry had 3 points in the last game, 1 for 10. And I was looking it up. He has had 5 games in his career with 0, but most of those were pre-2012.
And were they injury?
It was early on. Because remember early in his career, he came off the bench. Monty Ellis was their top player.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy to think that Steph Curry was like a backup to Monty Ellis? I mean, no shade to Monty Ellis. He was a baller, but I mean, we're talking about the best year in NBA history, just backing up Monty Ellis. I mean,
hindsight is an absolute wild time. What a cool thing to look back on and think you had to earn it. You don't just enter the league as the best shooter ever. Man had to earn his keep, and he did a hell of a job. I'm going to go to one myself, Shark, because I actually like this play. Jason,
wait, did you talk about Steph with the over-under?
Oh, sorry. No, I got way too excited.
He was so disrespectful in the last game. You were like, we're not even going to discuss this guy's terrible game.
Yeah, no, you got me too excited about the old school Warriors because they were fun to watch too. I don't have a take on him. He's a pass, to be honest, tonight. I have no idea what he's going to do in a potential blowout game. I'd almost lean under, not just because of the three-point performance, but just because he often will just take a passing second hand to Butler and some of these other guys if the game's not important. That doesn't mean it's not important to him. He's just getting others involved, and that's what you need come playoff time. So I'd lean under, if anything. But I'm going to go to one myself in the comments here. Jason said Luke Cornett. That's an interesting one for those of you that don't know the Celtics backups. I would absolutely take his props tonight. He should get a lot of playing time. They like to play him as a role player even when guys are healthy. He's a backup big. I would lean his overs fairly strongly here if any of the guys are sitting like it appears that they might.
Yeah, and I think we maybe have one more here, and then we're going to get off the air. Anton Palermo says OG over 17.5 points.
Interesting. Anunoby, I didn't get there tonight on my card. Let me just see what the numbers are showing for him. I recently hammered Anunoby as a top play of the day just a few games ago. This was pre-Brunson getting back, and he went for 30 because he had been scoring just off the rocker. I mean, he was pouring buckets in. So he's going to be a fun threat to watch come postseason as well. Numbers they're really sharp here. I'm showing 16.6 projection. That's actually slightly under, but I think that's because the Knicks have so many options offensively now with everyone getting back healthy. So if this was pre-Brunson injury, hammer the over. It's not. Small lean on the under. Stay away from me, Anton. Good question, though.
Yeah, actually, this game is graded to be pretty low scoring, bizarrely. If you go through the last couple matchups here, the last time Boston played in New York City at Madison Square Garden, the game total was 229.5, and Boston lit them up for 131 points, 131-104. The most recent game played in Boston on February 23rd, the line for the game was 231.5. So your last two lines were 229.5, 231.5. This opened at 223.5. So this is plummeting down. And again, I'm not entirely sure because Boston at any point in time can hit 25 threes and the entire thing is just a total wash. But the game is projected to be lower scoring. And I think with OG recently, he's been hot. Luke, you've cashed a few tickets on OG over in the last week alone, right?
Right. And now, so you have to know when to then dip and take the under. And I think his value maxed out. I think we capitalized on his value. Cadillac Swaggin says in the comments his line was at 18.5 to start today. Look at that sharp movement. That's showing undervalue. Please take that into account. That's huge. That just shows that under is the play here, if anything, on OG. Just wanted to finish with that. It's an important point. Thank you, Cadillac Swaggin, for bringing that up.
Absolutely. And Lena, a little late to the chat. Lena, we appreciate you. We talked about that game in some detail. Only thing I will say on that, it's hard to sweep a divisional opponent, particularly of the quality of the Knicks. And we saw this last year. The Knicks lost 4 straight in the regular season to Boston. They played 5 due to the NBA Cup. And the Knicks did go into Boston, the final matchup, and hammer the Celtics. So I think it's just you're going to see a Game 7 mentality from the Knicks tonight. I think it's professionalism. And we said this when we talked about the game. Neither team really needs this for the playoffs. They're pretty much locked into position. But I do think the Knicks need this in their mind, that we can beat this team. It's like you need to see the ball go through the hoop.
It's like a mental victory. Yeah.
They have to beat the Celtics to believe in themselves in a playoff series, and they might honestly see them in the second round. So the Knicks need to put something on record in their mind. We can get these guys. So the Knicks would be the side there tonight, and that was an hour and 3 minutes. I say it every time. We could be on every 3 hours. The best conversation. We appreciate you guys in the chat immensely. We appreciate you guys who are not in the chat but watching and connecting with the energy and the picks we put on record. We love you guys. We send you guys all the best vibes. Tuesday's trend upward. My top play, Atlanta-Orlando over, and Luke with a couple props. For JA, I am the Shark. He is Luke Shuey. Stay fast, stay strong, stay disciplined, and let's dominate.
Cut my life into pieces.